2, go.
A lot of great new books this week. Oh boy, oh boy. We got some Louise Gluck. We got the collected poems, 1962 to 2012. And plus all the other Gluck titles, the single volumes. We got most of those in too, if you want some poetry by Louise Gluck. We also got in a bunch of new crossword puzzle books. We also got in, finally, in paperback, the Conversations with RBG, interviews with Jeffrey Rosen. And I got a very cool thing here, Brave Black First, 100 postcards. We never do this kind of thing, but this is very cool, celebrating more than 50 African American women who changed the world. They were fearless, they were bold, they were change makers. These are the 100 postcards. We're talking gifts now, folks. I guess we're in that mode. Timothy Snyder, our guy who wrote On Tyranny and has written extensively on European history and the Holocaust, went in the hospital last fall, not from COVID, something else, but he has an essay about liberty and being in the hospital. That's timely. Of course it's timely. Timothy Snyder. And then we got 3 new different books about books. Ex Libris, 100 books to read and reread by Michiko Kakutani from the New York Times, like a journal, not a journal, but these are books about, a book about books. Here's the journal, To Read or Not to Read, a literary journal for the book lover's soul, with titles, and then you can mark down which books you read. You can tell your friends and family, yes, I did read that 17 years ago, and I just don't remember the ending, but give me a break. And then there's this one, somebody called me up about this, the Call Me Ishmael phone book, an interactive guide to life-changing books. Check this one out. Actually, you know who called me up about this? The publisher. They wanted to know if I had, was the publisher or the author? Or maybe it was the author's mother. Wanted to know if I had the book. I didn't know about it. We just got it in, and it's great. An interactive guide to life-changing books. Speaking of interactive guide, here's a treat for today, the 29th of October. And it is, I'll just say it's 3 words. Listen to these 3 words. James Whitcomb Riley. Do you know James Whitcomb Riley? He wrote this poem. When the frost is on the pumpkin and the fodder's in the shock, and you hear the clack and gobble of the strutting turkey cock, and the clacking of the guineas and the clucking of the hens, and the rooster's hallelujah as he tiptoes on the fence, oh, it's then the times a fella is feeling at his best, with the rising sun to greet him from a night of peaceful rest, as he leaves the house bareheaded and goes out to feed the stock, when the frost is on the pumpkin and the fodder's in the shock. There's something kind of hearty-like about the atmosphere when the heat of summer's over and the cooling fall is here. Of course we miss the flowers and the blossoms on the trees and the mumble of the hummingbirds and the buzzing of the bees, but the air is so appetizing, and the landscape through the haze of a crisp and sunny morning of the early autumn days is a picture that no painter has the coloring to mock, when the frost is on the pumpkin and the fodder's in the shock. The husky, rusty rustle of the tussles of the corn and the rasping of the tangled leaves, as golden as the morn. The stubble in the furries, kinda lonesome like, but still preaching sermons to us of the barns they grow to fill. The straw stack in the meadow and the reaper in the shed, the horses in the stalls below, the clover overhead. Oh, it sets my heart a-clicking like the ticking of a clock when the frost is on the pumpkin and the fodder is on the shock. Then your apples all is gathered, and the ones a fella keeps is poured around the cellar floor in red and yellow heaps. And your cider making's over, and the women folks is through with their mince and apple butter and their sauce and sausage too. I don't know how to tell it, but if such a thing could be, as the angels wantin' boardin', and they call around on me, I'd want to accommodate 'em, all the whole endurin' flock, when the frost is on the pumpkin and the fodder's in the shock.